Good afternoon. Dawn Elliott with Tierra Antigua here. And today we're going to be talking about the buyer consultation. So, what is a buyer consultation? Well, when I first started in real estate, I would start out by home shopping with my clients. And then once we found the perfect home, I would pause and explain to them how the home buying process works. Now, in retrospect, this was incredibly backwards. And now that I've been doing real estate for a few years, I sit down with each of my clients as a first step with a buyer consultation. So, a buyer consultation starts with me getting to know you as the client, get to know your needs and your wants, your motivation for living in Tucson, for buying a new home, for selling your home, and making this big transition in your life. This is really important because you might tell me I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. But really what you need is a primary bedroom, a guest bedroom, and an office. So something like a 2-bedroom with a den might work perfectly. And this gives us more options. So the more I know about you and what you're looking for, the better I can serve you as a realtor. The next step in the buyer consultation is going over your lending options. Are you going to be a cash buyer? Do you need a loan? Have you picked a lender? Have you talked to your mortgage broker? Do you have a pre-qualification? These again are super important before we go looking for a house. The reason this is that you need to know your buying power. You need to know how much you qualify for if you are using a mortgage. You need to know if you're paying cash, are your assets liquid or do we need to put them in a different fund to be accessible? Again, super important before we ever go looking for a house because I don't want to oversell you or undersell you on your home. Next, we go into the actual home buying process, the transaction itself. And this is where you get this awesome buyer guide. And this is a custom buyer guide that I have done with Tierra Antigua that helps go through the whole buying process. It talks about different types of homes. Do you want a new construction? Are you looking for a townhome or a condo or a co-op? Because the process works differently for each of these. Then we go through the actual steps. So this is your buyer roadmap, and it talks about picking your realtor, hopefully me, picking your lender. I have great recommendations. The home shopping process, how to approach looking at a home. How many homes do we look at a time? How do we keep track of everything? And then finally, once you find your perfect home, or at least as close as we can get, then we talk about how does the offer work? This is a legally binding contract. So this is something that you must understand when you're signing it. How does the offer work? How does the counter offer process work? Where do the negotiations happen? When do you do inspections? When does appraisal happen? What are your rights and responsibilities as a buyer? These are all things that we go over before ever looking at any homes so that you understand and you feel confident in your home buying process. Remember, this is one of the biggest purchases you might ever make in your life, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I want you to understand your rights and responsibilities and the entire process so that you feel comfortable. If you're interested in your own buyer consultation, give me a call, text, email, and we'll set you up. We can sit down in person or do it virtually, whatever is best for you. Thanks and have a great day.